is Shuang Wen. I am a Humanities Research Fellow at NYUAD Institute. I was born and raised in China, so Mandarin is my native language. Before I went to the US for my PhD, I studied a number of years of Middle East history and Arabic language. So once I get to the US, I knew that I want to work on a project that used both languages, which is a rare combination. Originally, I thought I would just use Chinese and Arabic newspapers, and however, as I go further into the archives, I discovered more. But this is how I first developed the idea of the project. The project is about how Chinese and Arabic-speaking societies formed entwined interactions from the mid-19th century to the end of World War II via the competition and collaborations between the British and Japanese empires. The main challenge, of course, is I believe it is very worthwhile. It's a worthwhile academic exercise to combine two conventionally considered as separate historiographical fields together. In my particular region is the Middle East historiography and East Asian historiography. While studying as a graduate student, I took comprehensive exams and realized that the books we read in these two fields, although are on very different regions, but have very common themes, such as the rise of nationalism, intellectual encounters with the West during this period of time, and also building of large-scale infrastructures, modern hygiene, things like that. Then I wonder, why don't I try to weave them together? But the challenge is, you know, academics are quite particular about their own field. So as a young junior scholar, the main challenge is to convince the experts in both fields that it is a worthwhile academic exercise to weave these two scholarly fields together and at the same time make contribution to global world history and make empirical-based global world history. In the past, the world global history is mainly synthesizing secondary literature. But because of my language skills and also using multi-archival research, I hope to make an empirical-based, multi-archival research-based global history. Before I started the research, my own assumption was that there was not much connections between the two because during this particular time, mid-19th century to the end of World War II, this was the high time of global capitalism, global imperialism. This was often considered the darkest moments of these two Eastern societies. But the preliminary result I find is because of these global imperial networks entwined together, and it was not just one empire, it's actually collaboration and the competitions between different empires, i.e. British empires and Japanese empires, that they enabled all kinds of connections between Chinese and Arabs that facilitated the movement of laborers, the movement of public discourse regarding to public debt or large-scale infrastructure, the movement of commodities and the transformation of commodities, as well as the movement of medical knowledge and religious ideas. I am very grateful to have this fellowship because it really gives me a time release from teaching, concentrated time to focus on the revision of my manuscript. And of course, coming back to the Middle East region, I can continue to improve my Arabic. That will never be enough. And also developing a second project. I'm very, very lucky here. The faculty and students are very welcoming to me. Yes, I so far only been here for a month, and I already had some interactions, very pleasant with them. Yeah, so I'm very grateful. The Chinese-Arab people's interactions are not just about the ancient or pre-modern Silk Roads, which are also very, very important, but there are also interactions surprisingly little known, such as the transfer of soybeans, the transfer of Western medicines to China, and the religious interactions between Christianity and Islam. Via the empire,